What's going on, guys? So we had a little bit of a dead cat bounce today in the NASDAQ markets, which is good because Friday was just an absolute bloodbath. So in the pre-market, we recovered about 40% of that move. So I'm expecting today, right? And today was October the 13th. I was expecting today to be volatile, expecting that range. Even if we were chopping, I was expecting that range to be pretty big. Um, and this morning, we had an ATR, average true range on the 5 minute time frame, between 35 and 42 points. So when I'm looking for scalps, 5, 10 points, and I'm looking at an ATR between 35 and 45 points, my eyes are going to light right up, because I know that even if the market is chopping in a little bit of a range, which you can kind of see here, it did chop in this range for about 2 hours, you're going to be able to find some moves. So I want to show you guys the 20 SMA play today for me that printed. So if you guys have been following me for a while, you guys know I use a 20 SMA for short-term bias, change in trends, looking to enter and exit my scalps. Off the open, we had a very, very quick kind of flush of this 200 simple moving average. There was a very quick 20 SMA scalp, I guess you could say, here below 24,758. Next candle opened up into 24,724. So over 25 points there. Again, if you're scalping between 5 and 10 points, you should have been able to take that, take some profits. But this is not the 20 SMA trade that I'm looking at. The one that really got my attention was this one here. So at 9:45 Eastern time, this one right here. And the reason being was these two things. The first candle off the open, it flushed. It's very aggressive. However, the second candle put in this little bit of a, what do we call it? An indecision, a reversal, a doji, a little bit of a hammerish style candle here. This is signifying to me a lot of buyers were comfortable stepping in here. Then we had this big 85-point range candle. Okay. Now this, between these two candles, is what really set up this trade here, because this candle here at 940, it closed back over the 200 SMA. So with that being said, not only am I getting some buying pressure, I'm not getting any continuation low. I'm back over the 200-day moving average on a 5 minute time frame, so that's extremely bullish. We opened up, we pushed down, but failed to make a new low. So automatically at 9:45 in the morning, this is the one I want to be full-fledged into, because this is the type of trade where not only can you get into it and take a scalp, but this is a trade where you can add into the position. Okay, because what we're looking at here is, if we're looking at this swing high from pre-market as maybe a target, if I get into this trade at 950 on the confirmation and it starts working, I can now start firing another contract into that long position, knowing that I have a stop loss anything below the 20 SMA, knowing that my support is holding of the 200 SMA. You can maybe get off a couple extra contracts on this run up. So if you kind of look at it, 24,830 was your entry. Let's call it the pivot point. That pivot over 830, you're looking to get long at 9:50 in the morning Eastern, and that runs up to a high of 866. So from a price of 830 to 866 is 30 points, guys. 30 points. So if you're entering into this trade, instead of taking those initial profits at 5 points, when you have that kind of amount of range and that momentum coming off of those two strong support systems, instead of taking profits at 5 points, you can fire another one or two contracts. And that's exactly what I did. That kind of helped beef up the balance, because instead of it being a normal $100 trade or $120 trade, it quickly turns into a $240, $280, $300 trade, because I enter in with one mini contract, and as that momentum is starting to explode, I fire another contract and another contract very, very quickly. And as soon as I go up about, another $100 to $120 per contract, I scale out, right? I scale out because I want to take profits before we hit this high from the pre-market. Okay. Now it did break it, wish I would have held on all the way up to 883, but again, I'm a scalper. So I'm going to start to either add into a position over 5 points if the momentum is really strong, or I'm going to start scaling out between 5 and 10 points. So with that being said, I hope you guys caught something from this. Again, if you kind of just look at some of these other trades, look at this 20 SMA here was an absolute winner. This one here was an absolute winner. This one here was an absolute winner. 20 SMA trades today, the 20 SMA strategy for scalping absolutely was on fire for about the first hour and a half of the market. So if you were not scared and you were not hesitant and you had conviction in the setups and the strategies that you trade, aka the 20 SMA, then you would have did perfect today, right? Like you would have almost did really, really good. And even if you're trading micro contracts, let's say 4 or 5 micro contracts, you have the luxury of opening up the stop loss a little bit because you don't need it to necessarily hit or miss right away. You can kind of let it, gravitate and go into those targets. Guys, Apex is 80% off right now, $85 activation fees if you use code DAnthony. So just don't forget that. If you guys are going to buy some evaluations, make sure to use my discount code. You can also find the other prop firms that I'm affiliated with down in the description box. And if you guys do ever want to join the community, that link is down there as well. Only thing I ask of you guys is to give me a thumbs up on this video. I will catch you guys all in the next one.